Hey everybody, Mike Griffith here. Hope everybody's having a great night. Let me get back to normal here. Hey man, so I hope you guys are getting some good football. I hope you've had a great Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's happy and healthy, and I'm settling in here for some Friday Night Mike. Coming to you a little bit earlier than normal, but I want to, right? I mean, there's stuff going on. What the heck is going on my phone there? There we go. Hey, gun. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get my camera set up. So what do we talk about? Georgia, South Carolina, tomorrow night, 7:30. Bulldogs, about a 24-point favorite. You know, I haven't written my story yet, but my thought is, I think Kirby Smart needs to win back the fan base. How about that? I think Kirby Smart needs to win back the fan base. I think that the win over Mississippi State had so many promising elements, especially the way JT Daniels played quarterback. But I think Kirby has got to get that defense dominant again. I think people want to see Georgia look like a championship program again and finish the season strong. You win, the next 3 games, and you finish 8-2, and then you go to a bowl and win. And right now I'm seeing Georgia projected to play against Cincinnati in the Peach Bowl. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem like a very, fulfilling opponent. Like, if you beat Cincinnati by 4 touchdowns, it's like a tree falling in the forest. Who cares, right? You want to see them play a Power 5 team from a named conference. Cincinnati, even if they're undefeated, it just doesn't do it for Cincinnati in the Peach Bowl. Just doesn't do it for me. Would the players be excited? Would the coaching staff? Would the fans? I don't think so. Been to New Orleans plenty. 2 back-to-back Sugar Bowls. Don't want that. I think it would be cool if somehow Georgia could work itself into the Orange Bowl. That would be like a cool game. Play Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Or work yourself out to the Fiesta Bowl and play somebody from the Pac-12 like Oregon. But something different, something splashy, because the next 3 weeks, it's going to be about building momentum, and it's going to be about Kirby Smart winning back the fan base, showing the fan base that, yes, he does have the answers. Yes, he is on the cutting edge. His defense can get fixed. His run game can get on track. And I think JT Daniels will continue to throw for a lot of yards. Now, people have said, will he do 400 yards again? If I were going to bet on it, probably not, but I'll bet you he will have 300 yards again. And I'll bet you that George Pickens has a 10-catch game left in him. I just think that JT is the kind of guy, a lot like Jake Fromm, that's going to go to the line, and he's going to make that pre-snap read, and he's going to know where the matchup's going to be. And he has the arm talent to put it anywhere. I see Rosemary Taylor is asking me about YouTube. Rosemary, this show goes on instant premiere on YouTube. I don't do YouTube live on this. I do instant premiere on YouTube. Right after I do this, I move it right over to YouTube. That's just kind of the way we've done Friday Night Mike. This has been a neat deal we did all summer. A lot of the folks that are in here watching, they're friends. We were friends this summer. We didn't really have football to talk about. We all kind of went through COVID together. We all kind of shared our concerns and our anxieties and our hopes for a season. And that's what Friday Night Mike was throughout the off season. And now it's football, and we talk football, but we're still kind of a community. You'll see there's not a lot of riffraff in here. There's not a lot of trolling. There's not any infighting. That's not what Friday Night Mike crowd is. Friday Night Mike crowd is people chilling out. Sometimes you're watching games. Sometimes you're staying in. You're getting ready to go out, or you just finished dinner. You're making dinner. This is a very casual setting. So we talk about a lot of different things. I'm talking football because I'm excited about Georgia football again. Let's be honest. It's been a drag. Before JT Daniels entered the picture, it had gotten to be a real drag. There wasn't a lot of excitement. The offense was just not exciting. It was a struggle. It was not fun to watch Georgia football from the halftime of the Alabama game on. It really wasn't. It was a drag, and it was a bummer, and it was disappointing. And I know that there's still a lot of Georgia fans that are frustrated right now. And I know there's a lot of fans that are mad and angry that this didn't get fixed before Florida. And it didn't. And there's nothing you can do about it now. And it's like Kirby Smart said after the national championship game in 2017, when he was asked about, well, how do you get over it? How do you get over losing to Alabama on the last play of the game? And Kirby said, you don't let that game beat you twice. You got to put it behind you. You can't let Florida beat you twice. You can't let Florida steal your love and passion for Georgia football. The game got away. It's over with. But now you have an opportunity to see Georgia football finish strong. Now, as far as Kirby winning the fans back, that's just all that is Kirby having a different attitude about things. Listen, Kirby is upset, and Kirby is as anybody else. But he doesn't want to stand up there and feel sorry for himself and second guess. He made the decision at the time he thought was best. He can't apologize for that. I've seen it before. It was the 1996 SEC championship game. And Alabama was winning by 3 points, and it was the fourth quarter, and there was less than 10 minutes left. And Gene Stallings elected to kick a field goal instead of go for it on fourth down. And sure as shooting, Steve Spurrier and the Gators went down and scored a touchdown. And after the game, the media asked Gene Stallings, hey, coach, I'll bet you wish you would have gone for that fourth down now. And he said, no, I don't. And they said, what do you mean you don't? Would you do it different? He said, no, I wouldn't do it again. And I was thinking to myself, man, Coach Stallings, you sure are being stubborn. And they said, why wouldn't you do it? And he said, because I thought that was the right decision at that time. And I can't apologize for what I thought was right at the time. And I understood that. Now, he's not, hindsight's 20/20. And that's where Kirby's at with that. Okay? That's where he's at with this. So he hasn't handled it with humility or in stride. He hasn't said the magic words or told a joke to make y'all feel good. That's not who he is. Don't ask him to be somebody that he's not. All right? He's an angry coach that did what he thought was best, and he's moving forward. So, how does he win the fans back? And I'm not saying all the fans, because I know that there's a lot of Georgia fans that are loyal no matter what. I know that nobody wants Kirby Smart fired. Only the idiots say that, okay? You can be upset with Kirby, but nobody on this planet with half a brain wants anybody else but Kirby Smart coaching Georgia. When I say win the fans back, I mean make everybody feel good again. And the only way to do that is put it on South Carolina, man. I mean, put it on him. I know him and Bobo are friends, but he has got to absolutely wipe those Gamecocks out. I'm talking 5 touchdowns. I'm talking 49-7 or 49-10 or 56 Georgia needs to air it out and burn that South Carolina team down. South Carolina came into Sanford Stadium last year and made history. They were the first unranked team ever to beat a top 5 Georgia team in Sanford Stadium. And they got to pay for that. They got to pay for that. And I know their cornerbacks quit the team, and it's so sad for South Carolina. Look, tough news for you, okay? This is the SEC, and it's a time for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs to go in there bloodthirsty, all right? That's how Kirby Smart is going to get his fans back, to show everybody that guy inside that does the I want to eat video, that ruthless competitor, is still there. Not somebody that wants to walk across the field and shake Mike Bobo's hand and put his arm around his back and tell his big buddy how much he misses him. He needs to kick his ass. That's what needs to happen for Georgia football fans to feel good again. They need to see it, all right? And Kirby needs to know that. And then he needs to play on December 5th against Vanderbilt and do the same thing to Derek Mason. Even though Derek Mason said last year he thinks of Kirby like a brother, well, that's great, Derek, but this is Georgia and you're Vanderbilt, and the way the script reads is Georgia is supposed to win by 6 or 7 touchdowns over you, all right? And then when they get Missouri, that Missouri team that backed out on them, if they make Georgia travel to Missouri on December 19th, when those kids are supposed to be on break, those kids had better make Missouri pay for backing out on them. This needs to be a Georgia team with a chip on their shoulder that destroys teams, that makes a statement, where everybody stands back and said, Holy cow, are we ever lucky that JT Daniels didn't play against the... They need to make a statement. All right? Kirby can talk all he wants. He needs to make a statement on the field. Beating Mississippi State by 7 points was not good enough. It was below the standard. Yes, it's good that JT Daniels threw for 401 yards. Yes, we can see the future, presuming that JT Daniels sticks around for his senior year, which I think right now, I think that he will. Is there time for that to change? Sure. You never know what's going to happen between now and then. Malik Herring is gone. Ben Cleveland is gone. Trey McKitty is gone. They have all accepted invites to the Senior Bowl. None of those players are coming back. Azeez Ojulari has a decision to make. Monty Rice is likely gone. Eric Stokes has a decision to make. Tyson Campbell has a decision to make. Your defense is going to be reloading next year. There's a lot of talent there, but they're going to be reloading. Now, about this year's defense, when I talk about fixing it, do you know that for all of the garbage that we've seen happen on defense, and let's be honest, they did not play well in their 2 marquee games. Georgia still leads the SEC in scoring defense, and they still lead the SEC in rushing defense, and they're only 5 or 6 yards behind Texas A&M in leading the SEC in total defense. And they're 5th in pass efficiency defense. So as bad as it's been, as awful as it's been, Georgia still has the number 1 scoring defense and the number 1 rushing defense in the SEC, and they have the number 2 total defense. That's why they need to go in there and suffocate South Carolina. Georgia can still finish this season leading the SEC in those 3 major statistical categories. And they can probably get that passing efficiency defense down too. They've played the toughest schedule in the SEC. Do you know that? I watched the college football playoff ranking show, and Georgia was 9th. And everybody came out on Twitter. And I don't know if you've been following my Twitter lately, at Mike Griffith 32, but I have absolutely been under siege from Florida fans this week, and I'll tell you why. Florida fans are blowing up my timeline, and I'll tell you why. It all goes back to a Paul Finebaum appearance. But before I get to that, the college football ratings came out, and Georgia was number 9, and a lot of these people on Twitter were going ballistic, saying that Georgia didn't deserve it. And I thought to myself, I don't think they realize how tough Georgia's schedule's been. I don't think they realize the way the SEC dealt out, the front-loaded schedule, right? So I went to the Sagarin ratings. Back when I covered Tennessee, and I know everybody kind of rolls their eyes when Mike starts a sentence with back when I covered Tennessee. But in 1998, it was the first year of the BCS, and being the Tennessee beat writer, I had to follow the computer rankings all year. And as you know, that was Tennessee's national championship year. And so I had to monitor these computer ratings, and I was able to, there were 3 computer ratings being used back then. There was the New York Times computer poll, there was the Anderson and Hester poll out of Seattle, and there was the Jeff Sagarin computer rankings. And Sagarin is a former MIT mathematician, and he has the gold standard for computer ratings. It figures out, teams' ratings and transitive properties of who played who and who played who, et cetera, et cetera. Georgia's number 7 in the computer ratings, okay? The Georgia schedule ranks number 9. It's the toughest schedule in the league. Arkansas is 2nd. They have the 13th overall toughest schedule in the nation. Georgia has the toughest SEC schedule, and they're ranked number 7 in the Sagarin ratings. So the people that are moaning and groaning about Georgia being number 9 in the college football playoff rankings need to get a clue. And I will guarantee you that college football playoff committee looks at the various computer rankings, and I would almost bet that they probably look at the Sagarin ratings as well. And you can find the Sagarin ratings. It's USA Today, Sagarin, Sagarin ratings. Now, here's why I am getting destroyed and skewered, on Twitter by Florida fans. So you guys know I do the Finebaum show. Typically, I do it every Thursday. About 2 hours before we do Cover 4, I'll go on Finebaum like at 5:15 on Thursdays. And then we have our Cover 4 show right here with Jeff and BA and Connor, and we all cut it up and have a good time. It's usually on 7:30s on Thursdays. We didn't do one this week because of the holiday. So Finebaum calls me and says, hey, we want you to come on Wednesday instead. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. So whatever. I'm on Wednesday, and he asks about JT Daniels. And, of course, I tell him how JT, 28-38, 4 touchdowns, 401. This kid blew it up. He's the future. He's got a golden arm. He's a Lamborghini. Kirby's trying to figure out what to do with this guy. Because this is happening really fast to the Georgia offense. They got to catch up to what JT can do. Kirby's got to figure out, all right, what do we, Monken has got to figure out, how do we use it? Because this brings everybody into play. Everything's in play now. Everything's on the board. You can do whatever you want with this quarterback. There's no limitations. So I think we're going to talk more about that. I should have known better. I've known Paul since 1993 when I was covering Auburn and he was at the Birmingham. We go way, way back. And we've been doing this TV thing for about 4 years. And people always say, how do you like doing the Paul Finebaum show? What do you think? Is it fun? I said, listen, doing the Paul Finebaum show as a guest is like when you get on the airplane. You hope for a smooth flight. But for those of you that have flown, you know that at any time, that flight can get bumpy. And when it gets bumpy and turbulent, you're like, okay, here we go, right? And that's what it's like going on Finebaum. You never know when Paul's going to make it bumpy. You never know when the turbulence is going to hit. So he says to me, Mike, there's some people that are saying maybe Florida's passed Georgia by. Maybe the window on Georgia has closed. And I laughed and I said, did you watch the Vanderbilt game? Did you see Florida trailing Vanderbilt? And then he takes the conversation into Kyle Trask, listen, Trask, when he doesn't move, is like a Pop-A-Shot king. He can stand there and hit the shot and put it in the spot all day long. But if you make him move, he ain't that, all right? He's not Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was amazing. Joe Burrow could sit in the pocket and pick you apart, or when the play breaks down, dodge 2 of your defenders and put it 40 yards downfield. That's not Kyle Trask. Now, Kyle Trask is who he is, all right? I think he's a better version of what we saw from Jake. I think Jake was very good, very accurate, poised. I'm going to give Trask that. I'm going to say Trask is a better version of Jake. Bigger, a little bit more accurate. So that's what I'm going to say. But the fact that I don't think Kyle Trask is all that has really upset some people. And I told Paul, right? I like the Alabama guys, right? Before I do this, before I get into this, we need to do our shares. I'm sorry. I always forget to do this. And then I always ask you guys, if you've got like a Georgia fan site you belong to or somewhere to share it, I got to get the shares in. And I'm sorry I forgot to do that at the start of the show. I couldn't wait to start talking to you guys, and I did not do the shares I should have done. So let me get my shares out here, and then I'm going to tell you what I said about the quarterbacks and why the Florida fans are just, I really, like, for 24 hours, I feel like I've been on Twitter. And I'm not, it's not about, it's not about defending myself, because look, man, I've been a sports writer for 30 years, all right? And I've covered 7 different teams in 4 different conferences. And I enjoy covering Georgia. You guys know that. I've got a lot of respect for a lot of people over there. I've got a really good working relationship with the school. I've covered Georgia 2 years. Actually 3 years, right? So I'm a third year Georgia beat guy. Before that I did Tennessee for 2 years, and before that I did Michigan State for 4 years, and before that I did Tennessee for 14 years, and before that I did Alabama for 4 years, and before that I did Auburn for 2 years, and before that, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but before that I did Idaho State for 2 years in the Big Sky Conference. So I've covered a lot of different programs, a lot of different places. So when somebody accuses me of being a homer, I said, well, who am I a homer for? I mean, I went to Michigan State. I grew up watching SEC football. I've covered 4 different SEC teams. I still talk to all the coaches that I covered. You know, before I did the All-SEC preseason basketball thing, I called Coach Crean and I called Bruce Pearl. And I said, hey, these are the guys I'm looking at. What do you think? I don't mind telling you that. You know, I run opinions by these guys. I still call Gene Stallings. I talked to Pat Dye before he passed away. You know, Coach Stallings is the one that introduced me to Ray Goff. Him and Ray Goff are good friends. He was the one that said, hey, you need to reach out to Ray Goff. He lives down there in Oconee County. So, you know, it's a network. And it's probably like that for you all with your businesses. It's no different for me. I've got sports writer friends that I stay in contact with, and I bring them on the Monday night show. It's a network, right? So when fans arbitrarily say that I'm a homer or that, well, you're just a Georgia fan, so you hate Florida, listen, and you guys know this, and it upsets you because I've told you this. I don't hate Florida. I like Florida. I love the Swamp. I think it's a great environment. I think Tim Tebow is one of the greatest college football players I've covered. Steve Spurrier gave me the most pivotal career advice in my life. I owe Steve Spurrier for a lot of my career success. I petitioned the FWAA to have a Coach of the Year award named after Steve Spurrier. So I don't hate Florida. I don't hate any school. I'm the guy at the buffet. I like it all. I'll put it all on my plate. Oh, let me get a little of this Mississippi State cowbell. Oh, here's some Grove. Oh, Roll Tide, Crimson Tide. Yeah. Auburn and the War Eagle coming down from let me eat some of that. I'm at a buffet, man. I love all of the schools. I love all of college football. There's no program I don't like. It's not like that, right? But the Florida fans want to believe it is. They want to think that because I cover Georgia, I hate Kyle Trask. And that's just not true. The reason that I'm not as enamored with Kyle Trask as other people is that in 5 of the 8 quarters he's played Georgia, he didn't score a touchdown. Did you hear that? In 5 of the 8 quarters that Kyle Trask played Georgia, he did not get Florida in the end zone. I don't see the consistency. I watched him against Vanderbilt, and the numbers are good, but a couple of those passes, I didn't think it was his best game. It wasn't bad, but I don't look at him and go, no, that's a guy that's going to be a star in the NFL. And I said that on Paul's show. I said, this guy's not going to be on your fantasy football team. He ain't going to be that guy. He ain't Tom Brady, okay? He's not that guy. I don't see it. Now, I could be wrong. I could be a year from now, I could be coming on here saying, Kyle Trask is better than I ever thought. But right now they're asking my opinion, and I'm being honest. And my honest opinion is that right now Kyle Trask would be, right now Kyle Trask would finish in the top 4 or 5. I said that, and you would have thought that I said he was the worst quarterback in the world. I said he's in the top 4 or 5. I said I kind of like the Alabama guys, Najee Harris and Mack. Mack made some great throws on Georgia. Remember that game? Najee Harris is a great running back. Like I think Najee Harris might be the best back in the country. I know North Carolina's got a really good one. I'm not watching that game. You guys probably know. You can tell me what you think of the North Carolina guy. I know he's good, and I know Iowa State has a really good back too. But I like Najee and I like Mack because they're on the best team in the country. And Heisman history tells us that if your team's undefeated, you've got a really good chance of winning the Heisman Trophy if you win your league. It would be very hard for Kyle Trask to win the Heisman Trophy with 2 losses. It really would. If he loses to Alabama, it's really hard for me to imagine Kyle Trask with 2 losses finishing ahead of Mack, Najee, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields. Because here's what's going to happen. If Chalk holds and Clemson wins out, and Chalk holds and Ohio State wins out, you've got to believe that Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence are going to be in the Heisman discussion. And you've got to believe that if Alabama beats Florida, that either Mack or Najee is going to be in the discussion. Where is a 2-loss Kyle Trask in that discussion? So that's why my prediction right now is that he's in the top 4 or the 5. Now, if Trask beats Alabama, we're having a different discussion. To me, if Trask beats Alabama, he probably goes to the forefront of the conversation. And he might even win the Heisman Trophy if he beats Alabama. But right now, he's a guy who has a loss to Texas A&M and who's going to be a heavy underdog to Alabama. And I think he would need to beat Alabama. So that I didn't go through all that thinking because on Finebaum's show, he's going, we're over. I need to know. Who are your five? So he's telling me I've got 5 seconds. I don't have time to explain all this or to share because I really haven't, and I'm telling him, I haven't ranked them. Like, I don't have a list. It's not like I'm doing an AP Top 25 poll and I rank the teams every week. That's not how I do the Heisman. I wait till the end of the year. I wait till the week before the championship games because they usually give you until the day after the league championship games to get your Heisman vote in. So what I typically do is the week before the championship games, I look at all the candidates and I go, okay, who's on the map? Like, so I'll have like 5 or 6 guys and I'll be like, all right, it's these guys. And then I'll be like, these are my finalists in my mind. And then I watch the league championship games and then I vote. Like, I kind of have an idea who's where. But right now, with 4 games left, man, it's too early. I don't know. But what I do know is that Trask belongs in the top 4 or 5. I can't say he belongs in the top 2 because I don't know that he's going to beat Alabama. See? But all this doesn't come out in the wash. There's no chance to explain all this. All they take from it is that I say Kyle Trask is in the top 4 of the 5. So Finebaum is ticked. He gets mad. Buddy Martin, who covers Florida, is having a cow about this, having a stroke. And Buddy's so mad that he can't hear or think clearly, apparently, because he puts out this tweet that I supposedly said Kyle Trask was benched or that he was the 8th. I said, Buddy, I didn't say anything about Kyle Trask being benched. I didn't say anything about him being, but Buddy Martin's put this out there now, and the Florida fan base is responding to Buddy saying that the Georgia beat writer said all this garbage. So then Finebaum gets Greg McElroy on, and he tells Greg McElroy this garbage. And Greg McElroy goes, oh, these just a bunch of fanboys out there. I'm thinking, what the heck has just happened here? How does it go from me saying Trask 4 or 5 to me being a fanboy and Greg McElroy saying that the whole Heisman process is broken? I mean, this is just crazy. But this is what happens on social media, and this is what happens on the internet, and this is what happens on the Finebaum show. And I do it every week. Nobody makes me do it. Nobody puts a gun to my head because I think it's fun, and I think we like talking about college football, and I'm not afraid of the discussion, okay? Now, the thing that I took away from it that I'm disappointed by is that Greg McElroy said that college football writers are a bunch of fanboys. Let me tell you something. I've covered these programs. First of all, the guys that cover Georgia, whether I'm talking about 24/7 or the Rivals or Athens or Bulldog Illustrated or Dog Post, these are not fanboys, okay? These are journalists, and they're excellent journalists that cover Georgia. Okay, Greg McElroy said, well, what's to stop somebody in South Carolina from voting for Clemson guys 1, 2, and 3? Listen, that's insulting. Just stop it. There's nobody in any big-time media that's going to pull that with a Heisman vote. The guys that cover Georgia with me, they're not homers. Now, I'm speaking for myself. I don't know what they think of Kyle Trask, just to be clear. I mean, they might have Kyle Trask number 1. So I'm not speaking for anybody else on the Georgia beat but myself. But what I am telling you is we have a lot of great journalists that cover Georgia. And Claude Felton, who runs the sports information department, doesn't let anything but great journalists in the Georgia press box. Now, I can't speak for a whole bunch of but the other places I've been, like, I don't know what Greg McElroy's experience was with the Alabama media, but the guys that covered Alabama when I was there, they're not fanboys, okay? They're fantastic journalists. And it's insulting that he would say that because there's a lot of people that put a lot of effort and time and holidays away from their families to write about college sports and write about guys like Greg. And listen, Greg was a great quarterback. He had a great career as a quarterback at Alabama. He won a national title. I think he does a good job as an analyst as well. So I didn't like it that he took a swipe at my peers. Now, he can say what he wants about me, man. All right? Like I said, I've been doing this 30 years. I got the credentials, And enough people know who I am that they're not going to take that seriously. But he cast a wide net and put down a lot of people who don't have the platform and don't have the opportunity to represent themselves like I do. And that's not fair. That's being a bully. And I'm disappointed. And I told Greg that. I said on Twitter I was disappointed. And so that was my exciting week. That was, this week's Crazy Finebaum episode. Listen, I might end up voting Kyle Trask #1 for the Heisman. I may not. But all these people, all these Florida fans that have followed me on Twitter, and I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, at Mike Griffith 32, all the insults, all the mean things, that's not going to change my mind one way or another. It's not going to make me any less likely. It's not going to make me any more likely. The Heisman vote is not until after the championship game. There's no point in getting worked up about it now. So, but fans do that. And I get it. Florida fans, they're so hungry. They're so eager to be back on top. They want it all right now. They want all the awards and all the accolades. And it just doesn't work that way. It's like I told them. I didn't have Joe Burrow #1 on my ballot at this point last year. I didn't decide Joe Burrow was the best player in the country till after he put it on Georgia. That's when I went, okay, I'm convinced, right? And I think Kyle Trask needs to finish the season. Just like Mac needs to finish the season. Just like Najee needs to finish the season. Just like Justin and Trevor need to finish the season. And right now, it is what it is. Back to Georgia. Enough of that talk. I appreciate you guys letting me vent. It's just, I wanted to tell the Friday Night Mike group about it because it was just one of those deals where I was just like, this is ridiculous. Georgia and Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart saved the offseason. So I know we talked at the beginning of the show, just how does Kirby get his audience back? Kirby saved the offseason. When Sam Pittman left, and I was walking out of that Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and Sam Pittman was gone, and LSU had just beat the brakes off of Georgia, I thought to myself, boy, is Georgia in trouble, right? Kirby made some outstanding hires. Matt Luke has been incredible. He's been an incredible hire. The offensive line, to me, has been great this year, beyond my expectations. And Scott Cochran and special teams have taken a step up. That was another great hire. And Todd Monken has had guys running open all year and done his job as an offensive coordinator. Kirby made 3 fantastic hires, all right? Getting Jamie Newman was a good pickup. It wasn't Kirby's fault that COVID happened. If COVID hadn't happened and Newman goes through the spring drills, I think most of us would agree that Georgia probably beats Florida with a competent quarterback that can throw the ball downfield. Okay? That's just the truth. I'm not disrespecting Florida, but if Georgia's got a quarterback that can complete a downfield pass, they win that game. But COVID happened, right? And so the next best thing happened. So Newman doesn't work out, but you get JT Daniels. And now you see what a big deal that was, that JT and Todd Monken clicked, okay? And they're going to do some amazing things. So there's a lot of things to be thankful for. The year hasn't been an unmitigated disaster. I think there's some factors beyond Georgia's control that hurt Georgia. Number one, I'm disappointed with the way the SEC did the schedule. I think the SEC should have just picked up the next games that would have been played anyway. That would have meant Florida playing Alabama, but they didn't do that, okay? They redrew the entire schedule. All right, I don't like that. I don't like redrawing the schedule. There's a schedule rotation. It works itself out. What comes around goes around. But just redrawing the schedule to me made my antennas go up. And I didn't like the hand that Georgia was dealt with the front-loaded schedule. Okay, so that's number one. 2, Georgia hurt itself by not moving that game back to Athens. Sorry, they did. Playing it in Jacksonville. I'm not saying it would have been any different up here, but those kids were away from home for 6 weeks. Okay, so Georgia shot themselves in the foot by not saying to Jacksonville, COVID-19, we're bringing it back to Athens. We're not going to a neutral site. So that's 2. 3, when Florida got hit by COVID, they got a 2-week break. Now, they're going to tell you they shut everything down and didn't practice. Okay, that's fine. Why did the SEC office make Georgia move their bye week? That didn't need to happen. Georgia should have been able to keep their bye week the week before the Florida game. It's almost as if they were too worried about Georgia having a bye week and Florida having to play. So they moved Georgia's game with Kentucky up or back when they should have had a bye week before Florida. That was a bad break for Georgia. Georgia didn't have 2 weeks to work on Florida, okay? So And then the game. Stetson Bennett gets hurt with a 14-0. So there was a lot of things, and people are going, oh, these are their excuses. These are excuses. Okay, well, have you ever tried to retrace what happens in a plane crash? I have, okay, because I used to have a fear of flying. It's never just one thing, okay? The pilot was drowsy. He got to the airport late. He didn't check the left engine. The co-pilot missed that they were on the runway. On the second or third stage, the light flashed and he hit the... It's never just one thing. It's a cascade of events. And it took a cascade of bad events to put Georgia here with 2 losses and Florida in control. And give Florida some credit. Trask made some amazing money throws in the first half. Didn't score any touchdowns in the second half. Threw a pick 6 that was dropped. But in the first half, Kyle Trask was as good as any quarterback I've seen all season. He was amazing in the first half of that game. And, you know, the receivers made some great plays. Pitts made some great plays before Lewis Seen knocked him out. The running backs ran well. Dan Mullen found a hole in Kirby's defense with the wheel route. Give Florida credit. But with a competent quarterback, Georgia answers instead of going 3 and out on 4 out of 5 drives. So you can't have the game back, but I'm trying to explain this because I know everybody's got to find a place for it. And I know now Georgia needs to destroy South Carolina and destroy Mike Bobo. I know Mike Bobo's a former Georgia player. I get it. But so was Will Muschamp. And being big buddies with Will didn't make last year's game feel any better for Kirby or Georgia fans, all right? And they need to beat South Carolina bad. They just do. They got to send a message to their recruit. You know what Dan Mullen said the week of the Georgia-Florida game when he was asked about Georgia's offense? He goes, oh, yeah. They got a nice offense for what they do. And someone, what do you mean? He goes, well, we're a skill position offense. Georgia's a run offense. He goes, look at this. Their third leading receiver is a running back. Let me tell you something. If Dan Mullen is saying that in the media conference, he's saying that on the recruiting trail. So Kirby had better change the narrative with this Georgia team that they can throw the ball to receivers. I'm really excited about Arian Smith. Arian Smith played his first game last week against Mississippi State. This kid's from the Tampa area. He may be the fastest player on the team. I'm hearing this guy is so fast. And if Arian can catch, he's got a chance to be special. So let's see if Arian Smith gets involved. Let's see if Pickens gets 10 catches. Let's see how Burton fouls up. Let's see if Darnell Washington, the freshman tight end, gets it going, okay? The running game needs to get on track. I know they want to do good things for Zamir White's legacy. He's probably going to have to leave after this season and try his hand at the NFL. Another year's not going to make him any better. So Zamir, they're trying to get the numbers up. Hopefully he'll get a couple rushing touchdowns to kind of help his legacy a little bit. Kenny McIntosh is back in the fold. Explosive running back. Still don't have Kendall Milton. Need to get Kendall back. Man, we've covered a lot of ground on Friday Night Mike. It's been fun. It's been so real. I don't know. Do you guys like the filters? I always do the filters. And look, I'm with Bryce Dixon, man. Put 50 up there. Bryce, quit. Let's see 50 points. I want to see 50 points. I want to see 50 points on South Carolina, right? So we get a little tone going here. We get a different vibe as I finish up the show. See kind of, anybody got any questions? Any questions? People are going, Griff, what's going on here? Do you have questions for me? Yes, I agree with DeCarlo, because when Milton comes back, I think he's amazing. Someone's asking me, what's the plan if JT doesn't return? I'll quote Kirby Smart. The plan is there is no plan. They need Kirby Smart to come back. They need JT Daniels to come back. Some dog fans are trashing Dwan. William, look, here's the deal with Dwan. I think Dwan should try receiver. I think Dwan should give receiver a go. I think if Dwan Mathis moves to receiver, I think he could be a second-round draft pick next year. Look, the guy is 6'6", 215 pounds, and he runs a 10.800. He's an amazing athlete. I think Dwan should give receiver a shot next year if JT's back. And if it doesn't work out, they compete at quarterback again. But if it does work out, you got a chance to go to the NFL, be a big-time receiver. No, Bryce, I don't think you should get rid of Charlton Warren. I like Charlton Warren a lot. He's a disciplinarian, and I think that he coaches these guys up. Caleb Janney's talking about how Kirby talks about dominating opponents, that every drive needs to be aggressive and score TVs, touchdowns. Let's change the scenery. I agree with that. PC Cooper, Mathis not a quarterback. Here's my fear for Dwan. If Dwan gets flighty and transfers somewhere else, he's got to go through this whole deal again. He's got to wait all over again. And there's no guarantee. That's why I said, give receiver a shot. Jake Perez says, is Beck gone? I don't think so. I think Carson Beck wants to compete. He's waited this long. Stick around. Rodney White says he feels like he needs to be watching these in 3D with a lava lamp. Look, I just want to have some fun. It's Friday night. Man, it's been a long week for me. I told you guys that. Oh, look, Tony Porter's telling me that it's a gator effect there. Sorry about that, Tony. You're right. That is kind of some orange there for the... Oh, no, guys, I just can't do this. I feel like this is the Matrix. That one just won't work. That one won't work either. And this is really, we're getting a headache. We can't do this anymore, okay? Seriously, guys, we got to grow up. We can't keep playing with these filters. Somebody's going to shut me down. Somebody asked me about Zamir. I think Zamir needs to go to the pros. I think my concern for Zamir is the physical, right? So the first thing they do before they put you on the clock, before they see how many reps at 225 you can do, they're going to do a physical. They're going to look at your knees. They're going to x-ray you. They're going to pull. They're going to tug. Each team doctor has a crack at you. It's an exhausting process. And they're going to really try out Zamir White. So he's got to pass the physical. And, they're going to look at the game film. I'm going to be honest, it's going to be hard for Zamir to get drafted, okay? So I hope he closes this season out well. I hope that he's healthy and he passes the physical, and then that he finds his way on a roster, and like Elijah Holyfield did. That's what we got to hope for Zamir White. I just don't think coming back he's going to gain anything. And honestly, I think Kendall Milton would pass him on the depth chart, and Kenny might too. Same thing with Cook. Cook needs to go pro as well. I think he's already decided to go pro. So these are just my thoughts. Nobody's told me this. These are my opinions. I want to be clear on that. Listen, guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you had a good holiday. I hope that tomorrow goes well for you and your family. Do keep the mask up. I'll just tell you, I'll be full disclosure. About a week and a half ago, I found out that I had contact with somebody with COVID-19. And 2 days later, I went and got tested. And I was negative. But they tell you, hey, this incubation period, it can last 4 or 5 days. So I knew I had to wait. And I got tested again this week. I waited and I was negative again. So thankfully, blessings, right? The COVID-19 test is not that bad. If you feel like you may have had contact, get tested. It's not a horrible thing. I know as bad as it sounds, it doesn't hurt. It's not crazy bad. But be responsible about it. Keep your mask up. Protect your loved ones. Treat it seriously, okay? We've got to get through this winter and into the spring when they get the vaccine. We've got just a little bit more to go. So it's been a long, prying process. I'm tired of it. You're tired of it. But hang in there together. We got through it this summer, doing our Friday Night Mike and talking football. Everybody just hang together. Stay behind your Bulldogs. Stay behind Kirby. They'll reward you, okay? This is a great program. I've got a lot of confidence in those coaches over there and in those players. And I'm telling you, with JT Daniels under center, this guy can make a lot of magical things happen. It's been a long time since I've covered a quarterback that can do what JT can do. I'll tell you the last time, and it was Casey Clausen. And Casey was a guy, and I know Georgia owned him, but Casey beat Florida and Steve Spurrier twice at the Swamp. And he beat Alabama in his very first start. Those California quarterbacks, man, they think different. They'll go to the line, and if they see what they want, they don't care if it's 3rd and 1. If you're singling their dudes, they will take you down. They will take you deep. They think big, okay? JT Daniels is a big picture, fearless guy. He's won everything there is to win in his life. And he wants to win everything there is to win at Georgia. That's his mentality. He was the National Player of the Year as a freshman, Max Preps. He was the National Player of the Year as a sophomore, Max Preps. He was the National Player of the Year as a junior, Gatorade. And as a senior, what should have been his senior year of high school, he's starting for Southern Cal, throwing for 347 on Notre Dame. This guy thinks big. And it's fun to be around a quarterback in a program with that mentality. And I'm telling you, get on board right now, okay? Because once this thing takes off, this offense is going to be unbelievable. That's why I hope that Dwan will give receivers a shot. Can you imagine a receiving core with George Pickens, Jermaine Burton, Darnell Washington, Dominic Blaylock, and 6'6", 215 Dwan Mathis? Who's going to single cover him? Good luck. With Kendall Milton in the backfield and Kenny McIntosh? Good luck. Good luck to any team trying to stop Georgia next year, if that's the case. So, hey, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me. And love you guys on Friday Night Mike. Follow me on Twitter. Help me out on Twitter, at Mike Griffith 32. Yeah, do that.